So the Minnesota Vikings are heading into week 6 against the Miami Dolphins with a chance to improve their record to 5-1 heading into the bye week. The Vikings have not been perfect. They've looked bad at times, they've looked good, but the bottom line is you are what your record is. The Vikings are 4-1. They're one of the best teams in football. Kevin O'Connell, Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, this young offensive line. They all have stepped up this season, and the Vikings are absolutely fantastic. They're fun to watch, they're fun to cover. A lot of fans didn't really buy into this team, and it makes sense. The Vikings, they've had some good rosters going into seasons, but they haven't been able to capitalize off it. The Vikings have had some really discouraging losses the past couple seasons. They've had good teams, but unfortunately, much like the Chargers, they've let the fans down. But I just started covering the NFL this year, and the Vikings were one of the teams that I talked about. I said that they already looked dangerous before the season started. I just had a feeling, and I kept telling Vikings fans that keep the faith. You guys are going to win the NFC North. You're going to make a Super Bowl run. The Vikings, they're legit, man. Right now, I don't believe they're a Super Bowl contender despite everything I said. The reason for that is because they've got a lot of work to do. However, the coaching staff has admitted to what they need to work on. And of course, much of that is just being consistent. I mean, head coach Kevin O'Connell has the Vikings offense humming. The defensive coordinator, ED, has the Vikings defense not allowing many points. But it is struggling to get off the field. They're giving up a lot of yards per play against the Bears. The Bears did come back. They came back and took the lead in that game. So the Bears are not a good football team. They're one of the worst offenses in the league. So in this Week 6 matchup against the Dolphins, we do need to talk about everything that you guys need to be aware of. If you haven't already, though, smash the like button. Help get this out to more Vikings NFL fans. My name's Swag. You can find me here multiple times a week covering your Minnesota Vikings. I got you guys. This one, I'm not going to say it's going to be an easy game because there's no easy week in football. We just saw the Green Bay Packers lose to the Giants. And I understand that the Giants they're 4-1 in their own right. But you know how many people had the Packers losing that game? Not many, right? The Miami Dolphins, they're most likely going to be without their two starting quarterbacks, Tua Tagovailoa and Teddy Bridgewater. They're both in the concussion protocol. So that will lead to rookie Skylar Thompson at quarterback. Last week, Thompson completed 19 of 33 passes for 166 yards without a touchdown, with an interception and a lost fumble. So it goes to show that he did not expect to be playing that game. He didn't have a veteran on the sideline to guide him, so you can't really fault Thompson for that. I believe he was a late pick too. I'm kind of guessing here, but I'm pretty confident he was like a 6th or a 7th round pick. So he was just thrown into action, so you can't really blame him for that. But the thing about the Minnesota Vikings is it's not about who they beat. It's about winning games. They lost to the Eagles. Their one loss of the 5 they played was to the Eagles, who were 5-0. And I know there is thoughts in the backs of people's head where it's like, well, we lost the game that I wish we got. And that's true. But hey, beat those teams in the playoffs. Or at least just beat them the rest of the year. The Vikings are going to be probably, they're 17 games now? 13-4. 13-4. That's how good this team is. And you have to understand that the Vikings are only getting started. They're just scratching the surface. They're learning a new offense, guys. They're learning a new defense. If you're a Vikings fan, you've got to be ecstatic. And I grew up with my best friend is a Vikings fan. I grew up with him. And I told him this before the season started. I was like, Kevin O'Connell, he came over from the Rams. Somebody remind me, how have the Rams looked this season? Matthew Stafford, trash. Rams, trash. They're not even going to make the playoffs after winning the Super Bowl. Justin Jefferson, we've got to talk about him. I know it might be a little bit repetitive because Jefferson gets all the love, but he should, because through 5 weeks, he's leading the NFL in receiving yards with 547. He's second in receptions with 40. He has 8 catches of at least 20 yards. Kirk Cousins has been consistent. He's been steady. And O'Connell, he said the Vikings offense has been consistent because opponents can't be sure if they need to worry about Jefferson or Dalvin Cook. Irv Smith, we're still waiting for him to get going. He's one of my breakout candidates this season for the NFL. They've got a younger offensive line as well, and they're just in a new offense, so it's going to take some time here. But speaking of Dalvin Cook, he will be playing in Miami for the first time in his NFL career. He's going to have relatives and friends who will be at Hard Rock Stadium. I mean, Cook played there a few times. He went to Miami Central High School, and he had some big games, which he'll never forget. And it's going to be good to see Dalvin Cook back home. I've got him in fantasy. I am 1-4 in that league, but I'm not 1-4 because of Dalvin Cook. My team sucks, but I at least know I can run out a running back there that is going to score touchdowns and is an elite running back. I mean, Dalvin Cook, you could argue he's the best running back in football. You could argue he's probably top 3, but I mean, he's right up there, dude, in terms of just running the football and talent. But we do need to talk about one more thing. Actually, a couple more things before I get out of here. It's the special teams. Like, the Vikings special teams has been elite this season. Last week against the Bears, it was not. I mean, you got to miss 56-yarders, which was right. Another 56-yarder, which was right as well. A 53, which was common occurrence here, right as well. And then they had 51, which was blocked. So O'Connell said that Greg Joseph, right? Yeah, he's their kicker. He said he could do a better job of maybe playing the field position games at times. So he actually didn't even say that the kicker needs to do a better job. He said that he needs to manage the field a bit better. So Kevin O'Connell is taking leadership. He's saying, hey, look, you missed a couple of field goals that you probably should have made, but I can put you in a better situation to succeed. So yeah, I mean, Kevin O'Connell is just a fantastic coach. Like, I cover the Packers separately. I don't have a Vikings channel, which is completely idiotic. I need to make a Vikings channel. I just love making videos for you guys, these fans. I love the Timberwolves as well. I might get some T-Wolves content out, man. Cat and Ant and these boys can be a lot of fun. But yeah, specifically Kevin O'Connell, like, what he brings is just like, he brings like a video game like persona to this team. I mean, it almost seems like they're not even playing professional football. They're running plays that you can't even do in a video game in Madden 23, bro. It's just way more creative, and he's just the right coach. He's the right coach, and that's why I had a lot of good things to say about the Vikings this season, because I've been saying for years they had to get rid of Mike Zimmer. They bring in sort of this like new era type of coach, and look, they're 4-1. They're just getting started. Like I said, there was a poll that came out I think last week. It was like, do you believe in the Giants? Do you believe in the Vikings? And I said no, I do not. But I understand that this is a long-term thing. Like, the Vikings, they're only going to improve, and when it matters going into the playoffs, that's when I'm going to check yes, because I know that this is a learning process and it's a long season, 2 new schemes offensively and defensively. But the Vikings currently right now have a point differential of 3.4 points per game. Their last 3 games they've won by a total of 10 points. The Vikings defense, it allowed the Chicago Bears to score on 5 of their 8 possessions. The defense is going to have to do a better job of stopping opposing offenses. There's no question about that. The offense as well has to put teams away. I mean, they haven't been able to do that. Against the Lions, they came back and won that game. They were down double digits. The Vikings, they had leads of 2+ scores, and the offense stalled out. And somewhat like once they got those leads, they were able to find ways to to get back on track and win the game. But for the Vikings to truly be that contender that I'm saying, they're going to have to be able to start winning games by more points, and they're going to have to start to putting teams away offensively. The strength of the Vikings is their offense. Defense wins championships, so yeah, I understand that. But the strength of the Vikings is the offense.